evening,
I was bobbing my head for that.
ladies and gentlemen.
I love that.
We love about the introduction.
Yeah. Sorry, man.
My
Let's
face.
start all over again.
Yeah. So, Son finally scored yesterday, and we won
Hallelujah, praise the
6-2.
Lord.
Yes, finally. So I've got Josh with me again. First of all, in general, what do you think of yesterday's game? Where do we start? Because it was a bit weird.
You're all delusional. You know, it might say I watched it with my own eyes, mate. But the reality was, come on, we were terrible, yet somehow scored 6. How does it work? How does it work? We've somehow done it again. We've coughed, spluttered, passed out, defecated onto the streets.
And yet still pulled a worldie.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, what can you say? Conte made 4 substitutions before the 70th minute. Round of applause for him for that, because I never thought I'd see the day. We saw a 5-3-2 or 3-5-2, depending on how you want to look at it. I see it kind of, I guess, as a 5-3-2, and the wing backs still count as defenders that push on, which is what we've been calling. Both of us have asked for this for how many times? I think you'd end up in hospital if you took a shot for the amount of times we called for that on.
Yeah, we're like 3-5-2, 3-5-2, 3-5-2.
Wow.
Yeah.
He finally did it, and it worked. Son, how many times did I say you got to bench him? I said it as early as the Forest game. You bench him, it pisses him off. He's angry, he's hungry, he comes on, he scores. What happens? He gets a hat-trick. And I was called crazy for doing that, for saying that. Do you know what I mean?
It's the same with me as well. You're not the only one.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've had this discussion. Both of us, it is recorded, the proof is there on YouTube of us calling for this early doors. Bissouma finally, he's finally arrived, I think.
Yeah.
What astounded me was, I know Leicester were down and out, but Leicester were better than us for large spells of that game. But towards the end of the game, some of that passing play was phenomenal. I'm like, well, where was this at the start of the game? I mean, I've got a bone to pick with a few players, and I'm sure we'll get onto that further down the line. But ultimately, still unbeaten, 6 goals, you can't complain. To be honest, I know we conceded 2, and we were awful in the first half in particular. But would I rather concede 2 goals a game and score 6, or play really horrible, boring football, cagey football match, and it's 1-0, 2-1, that kind of thing? I'd take the 6-2. Us in the stands, we had everything. Heart in our mouths, sinking feeling, pure elation. It was swinging one way and the other. The pendulum was going. And ultimately, we were thoroughly entertained. And that's all we want as football fans, is to be thoroughly entertained.
I mean,
we got that. And so
the first 10-15 minutes, there were was it 2 goals or
4 goals?
3 goals? 4 goals in the first 20 minutes?
3 goals in the first 20.
Which is mad. I was like, what the hell's going on?
And what a goal, Eric Dyer, by the way. Gotta say, what a header that was from Eric Dyer.
I thought, for me, Kulusevski, I know he came off later on in the game, but you could tell the massive difference he makes for us when he plays.
Big time. But we've got to think clever now, because we know now the best formation. Again, every opposition manager comes to Tottenham and they say, we know how they're lining up. We know what formation. We'll just put an extra man in midfield and we'll have joy. It doesn't matter whether you're top or bottom of the league. And they had joy. They absolutely ripped us to shreds, but they were just... honestly, I never thought I'd see a worse team than Southampton defensively this season. Even, when we get to Bournemouth, I think they've got a bit more character. Leicester. Oh, my God. I've never seen defending like it. I've never seen...
Honestly, for me, I thought attacking-wise, they did give us a lot of problems. Like Maddison was unplayable yesterday. Until Bissouma came on, I don't think we had any control of Maddison, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, mean, we might as well kick things off. I think before we talk about the shoddy defending from Spurs, and it was some of the worst defending I've seen in years. I mean, it was a throwback to Vlad Kirikes and Federico Fatio. That's how bad it was.
That partnership. Oh my god.
Our midfield was absolutely diabolical for the first 60 minutes. Højbjerg probably had his worst game in a Spurs shirt yesterday, I thought. And Bentancur also probably had his worst game in a Spurs shirt up until that point. Bentancur somehow gets a goal and an assist, and I thought he was terrible.
Nothing.
The Bentancur defenders will come out in force, say what they want to say. He was brilliant. He was amazing. He bloody wasn't. He was awful. He couldn't put a pass together. He didn't have a first touch. He had no awareness. Second half, Sonny comes on. We change the shape slightly. Emerson gets himself back in the team. I think we were exposed with Perisic as well. I mean, I thought his delivery going forward, he was brilliant as always. Defensively, now he's just not that
What
great.
did you think of Kane and Son as the two? Because I felt the dynamic sort of changed because they were the focus of the team again, like under Mourinho. I felt like Kane and Son had more freedom to do what they did, if that makes sense.
I think it's interesting, right? Because Richarlison, you'd think undroppable in the way he's been playing. But
I was gutted when he got taken off, personally.
I think he struggled a little bit yesterday, and I think he struggled because of the system. Because he's playing left of the three or right of the three.
Not in the middle.
He needs to be in the middle. So 5-3-2, 3-5-2, whatever you want to call it, he'd be perfect. But when that system changed, Son was hungry, and it's the two players that if you're going to pick, if you've got a gun to your head, and you've got to make the call, and if you lose the game, you're getting that bullet through your skull, you're picking Kane and Son. Do you know what I mean?
I think, for me, that it's not as cutthroat as that. Like, I'm kind of player, manager, whatever you want to call it, fan, who wants to play the players who are on form, right? So, initially, I was quite gutted that Richarlison got taken off. Obviously, I couldn't have predicted the future that Son would score a hat trick. Like, there's no way I could say that. But like, I thought he wasn't as bad as everyone else thought yesterday because he was playing right in front of me in the first half as well. So, but also for me,
were you on the West Stand?
I'm West Stand, yeah. So he was right in front of me, attacking that side
because they were attacking towards me. So I was watching it from a different angle. But with Richarlison, he did a lot of very good things yesterday. But fundamentally, the one thing I think that I've been really amazed by him with is his hold-up play. And that wasn't particularly strong. But I think, again, it was the system. And because we didn't have midfielders showing, the midfielders didn't run, the midfielders couldn't put passes together. I mean, it was just shambolic. And I think Richarlison was a victim of the whole team playing poorly and the system. Son comes on, I'm thinking he's back. Because the first thing he did was a great run. Then seconds later, I'm like, no, he's not back. This is the same Son because he tripped over the ball and then he,
I remember, yeah.
Pass, gave it away. And then the next time he gets the ball, he puts that absolute beauty in the top corner. And I think that was all that was needed was that one goal. But as much as I love Richarlison and I still think he deserves minutes. If you're picking two and you're going with that formation, you're going to say who's the two that you're going to pick to change the game. I mean, Son, what a player to bring off the bench. As much as I think Richarlison, having Son coming off the bench is a slightly spicier.
I think with Richarlison though, people need to. I find this. I don't like this idea that people would immediately say Son is better than Richarlison, like completely, because I'm not saying he isn't, but Richarlison's played for Watford and Everton, right? With much lesser players. He hasn't been playing with Harry Kane for the past 5 years, or at Leverkusen.
Mate, that we're both massive Richie fans. Massive.
Yeah. Like, but what I'm saying is, for me, I even think you could play Richarlison with Son as a two. You could even play Richarlison with Kane as a two. You even play Son and Kane as a two. Like,
but this is why this is the formation we have to play. Simple. End of. because
I'd play Kulu right wing back personally.
I think he would work there. I'm not sure we get enough defensively from him, but he could work there depending on who you're playing. I think I would still go with Emerson until
The only thing with that though is
Spencer
that
gets minutes, right? We know that
if
Doherty's
he's ever going to get,
play, right? We know it. But with that formation, it's got to be Emerson for me purely on defense. If you're playing City, I'm playing Emerson. If you're playing, Leicester or Bournemouth, you're playing
Kulusevski,
Kulusevski.
Yeah.
But to have a 5-3-2 or a 3-5-2, whatever you want to call it, you've always got one of Son, Kane, or Richarlison on the bench, which means that if it's not working, you've got a world-class player to bring on, like a top player. It means you get the rotation you need. You keep everyone fresh. You play who's in form. You can spring a surprise. You can be more unpredictable. But I think ultimately the midfield needed that third man. They needed it.
But going forward, if we were to go with, I'm not saying we shouldn't because we've been calling for 3-5-2 for bloody ages. But who you'd need another midfielder really, because you'd only have Skip. Skip was the only one left on the bench, right? I think, unless you're going to start classifying Dyer as a midfield cover or something as well. Because say if one or two got knocks, and you stick with a 3-5-2, you're going to play midfield. You're going to have to put Skip at least. He was one who wasn't playing, plus someone else.
So the idea of Longley, Davis, and Romero,
Yeah,
or even Tanganga in the team doesn't bother me at all if Dyer has to play there. However, I would only play Dyer in midfield as a last resort. For me, this is where I want to see Sarr and I want to see Skip. Because if Basuma's playing with Sarr and Skip, or Bentancur's playing with Sarr and Skip, or Sarr is playing with Bentancur and Højbjerg, or Bentancur, Basuma, Højbjerg, Basuma, whatever it is, all the combinations we got there, right? Same with Skip. I'm not worried because those four midfielders are good enough technically. They're strong enough, they're good enough technically to do a job. And if one's not as good as the others, it's not really a problem because, you start thinking about it a little bit more if you're playing City away and suddenly you've got injuries and you're having to play Skip, Sarr and, Højbjerg. That would make me worry a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
But not a lot, because at the same time, they're there for a reason. They're good enough to be at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. So I think it gives you the options. Again, unpredictability, rotation is key. It's so key. And that formation lets you do it. You've always got an extra man. Even Kulusevski, I think, could play in midfield.
I haven't thought of that. It's because I've also been pushing him to play in the right wing back position, to be honest.
No, but he said time and time again, number 10.
Number 10, doesn't he? Yeah.
So if you play a 3 in midfield and he plays in the middle and he's allowed to go forward a bit more, but has to drop in, he's physical enough to do it. He's technical enough to do it. Again, same with Dyer. I wouldn't do it unless you have to. But they're all options. They're all options. And we are lucky to have that. We do not have those options if we play a 3-4-3. Simple as.
No,
we don't. We don't. The football was better. The passing was better. The movement was better. The fluidity was better.
We look more solid in midfield.
Exactly. Defensively, so much better because you've got 2 banks of 3 and you've got 2 wing backs. So you can have 8 players come and defend at one time. And if you want to counter quickly, you've got Sonny, you've got Kane. You play it to Kane. Kane plays the ball over the top or round
the goal,
the back of the defence to Son. You've got it.
Yeah.
That's what we did under Mourinho, and it worked.
Yeah.
So.
But do you think that also playing that formation allows you to play someone like Kulusevski at right wing back because he probably has a bit more freedom to go forward if you're playing 3 in midfield?
But as I said before, and I'll die on this rock, Kulusevski does not play right wing back unless it's a lesser team or you have to do it.
Mm. But do you
Because
think he'll adopt this formation going forward, like permanently?
you never know with Conte, but I'd like to think so. Because the difference it made was huge. 3-0 with that formation versus 3-2.
Oh yeah, that's true. Actually, yeah.
We play City or Arsenal, and we play like that.
3-5-2. Yeah,
We're getting
3-5-2.
battered 7-8-0.
Mm.
Seriously, we would be absolutely battered by Arsenal, or by City, or by Liverpool, even potentially, if we play that way against them, and we don't have the extra man.
I think the 3-4-3 is probably too open to play against those teams anyway.
It's
We'll get overrun by De Bruyne and whoever else you want to throw in there.
I'm going to play roles reversal, and I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay, all right.
3-4-3. Defensively, we both agree it's a shambles.
Yeah.
What does it give you different going forward?
With the 3-4-3.
What does it give you that's better than a 3-5-2 or a 5-3-2?
Well, the dynamic is for me, the dynamic is a lot different. Because you'd have 3 players playing further up rather than like 2, where you have maybe 1 dropping off even, if it's Kane and Son.
But we can't get the ball to them. Kane's dropping deep because he can't get the ball. Kulusevski's dropping deep. And when he makes a run or when he gets in behind, who's there to get on the end of it? No one.
I think we'll talk about this on the Hotspur Hood. I think the issue is the actual midfield too, right? So
those two are not good enough to play as a midfield 2 in that formation. I'm sorry.
It's not like we had Kante and Fabregas at Chelsea, and you could play a 3-4-3 because Kante's 2 players in himself anyway.
Kante's 2 players in itself. Fabregas doesn't have to come back and do that work. And Fabregas could put a ball on a sixpence, left foot, right foot, with his heel, you know, with his bum cheek if he wanted to. You know, he'd play a great through ball. You know?
But like with the players we got,
our attacking football is worse than it was under Mourinho in the 3-4-3 formation. 5-3-2 or 3-5-2. You've got the wing backs. You've got 2 players as a focal point. You've got the room. Højbjerg was able to go forward. Bissouma could go forward. They can take turns going in forward, and you've always got 2 covering. So if you go forward, that creates a 3rd player. Because you've got a bank of 3, your wing backs can both push on because you've got 3 midfielders that can drop and you've still got 6 players defensively. So 2 could slot in and then you have 1 slightly further forward. So you've still got, you know, a triangle or 2 banks of 3 defending. So you're not, you know, in trouble for the counter-attack. Yes, they might beat you for pace on the wings and they throw a ball in, but you've got enough men to defend that. You've got 2 wing backs, so that's 4 players you can have going forward. Another midfielder can join them, that's 5. You can attack with 5, you can defend with, you know, 8.
Which is pretty much the whole team. But in terms of the defence, I know...
It's crazy how he's not done this. And this is Conte's favourite formation.
He played at Inter Milan when he had Martinez and Lukaku.
What we saw towards the end of that Leicester game is exactly how a Conte team should play and how he's done it where he's won everything. It was about, was Bissouma ready? And I think now he's answered the call.
I mean, Bissouma, for me, was always a good sign-in because he was so good at Brighton. He always tore us apart. So
sure.
It was always going to work out. I
was having this debate yesterday with someone on the train. And it was, if you'd been offered Bissouma or Tielemans, who would you take in the summer?
Bissouma. That's mine.
I said Tielemans because he's got goals and assists. But we know that Bissouma's not been allowed. Firstly, he's not at the minutes. And secondly, when he was at Lille, before he was at Brighton, he was that more attacking player. But I think fundamentally what he is a great passer of the ball. Something that I don't think Bentancur or Højbjerg were yesterday.
No. I think Bentancur is like a ball recycler, and if that makes sense. Like, he knows where he's going to pass it before he gets it. But at the same time, his passing is not as progressive. Højbjerg is sometimes more progressive, but he sits off more. With Basuma, he's more. I think he can dictate the game a lot more, or he has capability to do it a lot more.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think you're right. And what he's very good at doing, right, is obviously under pressure, he'll do a spin and he'll do a turn, he'll do what have you, and it looks brilliant. And that's fair enough. But what you don't have with Bentancur is that ping, that brilliant forward pass. He's got a good ball on the floor and he's good at the short passing. He's playing the Dembele role a little bit, but he's not Dembele, and that's it.
Yeah. I mean,
that's our hardest problem as Spurs fans. We always want to compare someone to Moussa Dembele because the guy was that good.
But I think we just do that with every player. We compare him to like a previous player.
Are we? Yeah. We're never going to have Moussa Dembele again. So it's different. But
it's like Modric. I compare players to Modric a lot personally. But
yeah, no, absolutely. No, you're right to do so as well because they're the two. Those two are the gold standard of what a midfielder playing for our football.
I mean, Modric is still one of the best midfielders ever. Probably now, yeah.
Probably, yeah. I would say so. He's definitely up there. But with that formation change, you don't need to do those, Hollywood passes to the left, to the right, whatever it is, because Kane can do that, and the wing backs can do that. And you've got an extra man to play to in midfield. So if things are tight, you can play a 1-2, you can turn out. And I think Bentancur will benefit from that as well, because imagine he plays a 1-2 and then turns out and plays the wing back in.
Yeah.
And I think Højbjerg can benefit from that, so he's not having to run like a maniac.
Yeah, he does that all game, doesn't he, really?
He's got someone who can do the running. But there are a couple of things we've obviously got to talk about, because
you mentioned Lloris.
There's three players: Sanchez, Lloris, and Sessegnon.
Sanchez, oh my god. Okay.
I'll start with Lloris because it's the smallest criticism. The guy's kicking. I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. All you have to do is be able to play an outward ball, keep it in play, clear it. You don't have to do much with it. You're not weaving in and out of players. You're not picking an eye of the needle pass. The best thing that Lloris did yesterday was two things. One, that save from Patson Daka.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was a goal. Brilliant save. And the other thing was, after taking about 20 seconds with the ball on the ground, I'm like, why the hell is he doing that? He did a great throw out to the left, but we could have, potentially scored if he got up earlier and just played it. Lloris will come out and claim something, and the pass is on. All he needs to do is keep it on the ground and play it to a player. And it's like he blacks out when it happens. He always kicks it out for a throw-in. Like he doesn't get it clear. He always puts us still in a dangerous situation. Just fucking get rid. Clear it. Lump it as far down the pitch as you can. What are you doing? What are you doing? Clearing it 5 yards further forward, out wide, putting us under pressure still.
The whole pass around the back thing, yeah. Like, for me, I think it's okay to do it, but the players need to learn about when it's okay and when it's not, when to just fucking clear it.
I think also having a goalkeeper that can use his feet is important.
Yeah.
All the best goalkeepers, you look at, if I was to pick one goalkeeper in the league, in fact, first, I'll ask you this. If you could pick one goalkeeper in the league that's not Lloris, obviously, to be your number one goalkeeper, who would you pick?
That's good. That's a good question, actually. I think probably Mendy at Chelsea, I think.
Right, okay. I hadn't asked that question. I'm absolutely baffled by that one.
I don't like Edison. I think he's too wild at Man City.
See, I would say Aaron Ramsdale.
Is he Arsenal, right? Yeah.
Because he's so good with his feet. And if I was another goalkeeper, it would be Edison. Because ultimately, good shot.
Edison's like the extreme, like, to me. like he just does it too much.
He does, but he's allowed to do that, and he's told to do that. And the guy has got a better pass than half of the players in the Premier League. He's got an amazing pass, so accurate. He can play a long switch, and it's a pass. It's like a defender's hit it, not like a goalkeeper clearance. It's a proper pass. But Ramsdale, I would pick because he knows when to and when not to, as well as being a good shot stopper, good reflexes. I can't see Lloris in starting next season. He can't for me.
I mean, wasn't he supposed to find us a new keeper to replace him as well?
No, I don't think it was ever going to be this summer. I think it was always next summer. But that's all we got to say with Lloris. We know he's shite with his feet.
He's like the worst kicker in the league, I think.
He looks nervous all the time. He always looks like there's something not right there. Because
do you think it's to do with the fact that he's left-footed as well, or not?
No, because that doesn't stop you. I'm right-footed, and when I was playing, I could still clear a ball with my left if you have to.
Yeah, this is something I thought.
The guy can kick a football very, very far, and those match balls are light as a feather. They fly. No, I mean, I went down to the front where the players were walking into the stadium. Lloris looks always like he's about to shit a brick. He always is so nervous. Why? You're a World Cup winner. You've been around the block.
You forget he made that massive mistake in the final, remember?
Yeah. The guy's always got a mistake in him. And he's a brilliant shot stopper. He's got some of the best reflexes in world football.
But you just can't.
You've got to have the full package now as a goalkeeper. But yeah, I mean, the next player, I suppose, is Sessegnon. Sessegnon, in the way that Lloris can't read a situation and just, know when to clear it, how to clear it. How can Sessegnon not understand the basic flight of a crossfield switch? I mean, 2 or 3 occasions where that happened, he was at fault for the Maddison goal. And again in the second half, the one where Daka did get that header and Lloris made that save. He's like, what? When you play sometimes and the ball deflects up in the air and you're spinning around not knowing where.
Yeah.
He was like that every time the ball went over his head.
See, like for me, I actually thought Sessegnon had a better game than he normally does. But then he made these 2 massive mistakes, those 2 or 3 massive mistakes as well. So it's like, well,
I love Sess going forward. And I love Sess when the ball's on the floor. But when the ball's in the air, I mean, whoa. Steady on, fella. Do you know what I mean? All I can say is inject a Dogie into my veins.
I mean, he's doing really well at Udinese from what I've heard. And I think with Sessegnon, I think this is his final year at Tottenham unless he proves himself.
For me. Yeah. No, not really. I still think he'll be at the club. Because I think
you still think he'll be at the club?
No, I still do. I think he's still got a lot to give, and you always, with Sessegnon, you always feel like you want a bit more. You always feel like you want a bit more, but that's because he does feel like he gives a little bit more each time. I'm seeing progression with him, and I still think he's got bags of potential.
I think how long have we had Sessegnon for? Like, is it 3 years now?
Yeah, but how much time has he spent injured?
I mean, most of it, probably.
But I mean, I don't think he was terrible. But one player that was, terrible doesn't even cut it to describe how bad he was.
Who's Sanchez?
Yeah.
Honestly, the guy is just so bad. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean,
Spurs signed him on the back of 1 season at Ajax. I thought it was quite baffling because
because he was one of the best young defenders in world football at the time. But
you say that, but Mourinho did a number on him. Remember in that Europa League final? Didn't they target Sanchez?
Well, I thought Sanchez actually had a superb game in that final, but they put 2 players on him. But Mourinho, again, he's a brilliant manager. I as much as a lot of Spurs fans don't like him. I still have a lot
I
of respect.
still like him. I still like Mourinho.
I
I don't
liked
care
how
about
he
no
was at
Spurs.
the club. I liked how he talked. I liked how he conducted himself. You know, I've got a lot of respect for him. Nothing but respect for Mourinho. You know, but there's no excuses for. I mean, I can't. It's hard to even describe what happened in the build up to the penalty. As I was saying to you before we went live, I'm not mad at him for the penalty. I thought the penalty was really soft, and I think that the Leicester player frankly dived. There was some contact there, but for his knee, you see he went in, and when he knew he wasn't going to get to it, he pulled out, and the edge of his knee clipped his heel as he was already going down. What the hell was he doing before that? I mean, has.
Yeah.
In all your years of supporting Spurs, the only thing comparable to that in terms of weirdness was Lloris a few weeks back when he punched it when the ball was, there.
Oh yeah. Well,
That was
so
another
what the
weird
hell he
one.
did?
But
Don't you remember when Gazaniga did like a Cobra Kai type kick on a keeper?
yeah, that was another
against
one that
Chelsea?
was weird.
Yeah.
We're talking about two goalkeepers doing something a bit weird, right?
Yeah.
I cannot remember seeing defending that bad. Even when we had Vlad Kirikes and Fazio, I don't think they did anything that crazy.
I mean, Fazio was so bad for me. I mean, and Kirikesh was just a car crash as well. But I think Sanchez, I get nervous watching him just play football. I think his ball control is just so bad. And
So
even
do
his
I.
clearances, which people praise him for, I get scared about what he's going to do with the ball. Like, is he going to clear it properly? Is he going to just kick it up in the air and hope for the best?
No, so do I. So do I. You never know. You never
And
know.
it was obviously a massive difference when Romero came
Because
on.
to be honest, he can be really good.
Yeah.
He can be really, really good. But he can also be really, really bad.
But yeah, but like with Sanchez, I find that like he was in the team for like a while. Remember, like he'll have 2 or 3 good games, and then for some reason he'll just stop playing well.
Yeah, I mean, he was very, very, very good. He was really, really good for
In the end
large
of last
spells
season, you
towards the
mean?
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then it just, I mean, it was just nuts, just nuts. I mean, I don't want to see him in a Spurs shirt for a very long time.
For me, it's like never again. But I think we're gonna have to see him because I'd rather see Tanganga, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean,
Over Sanchez.
I would rather see Tanganga. He's Spurs. Do you know what I mean? And he's young. He's been unlucky with injury.
I thought he did all right when he came on the other day. Was it Marseille? Wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, I mean, it was only a cameo, but it was just so. That was the thing I was happiest about. On par with Richie scoring them goals was just seeing Tanganga get some minutes again.
He seemed like he didn't do anything spectacular, but at the same time, he didn't do anything wrong from what I can remember.
No, but his passing play was good. He looked accomplished.
Yeah, like he fit in that 3, and I think the right centre back position is his position in the system if he's going to play.
Well, no, I totally agree, and I think that Tanganga works there, which is why I said in this formation a 5-3-2, I don't mind Tanganga playing at all.
I'd rather him over Dyer.
I'd like him to play. I thought Dyer actually had a good game yesterday.
Yeah, I'm one of Dyer's biggest critics. I thought he was all right.
He was better defensively than the others until Romero.
Again with Dyer, I think because he's been at the club for so long, I kind of expect more. Does that make sense? Because he's just, you'd expect him to do a bit better, if that makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I don't know. I thought Longley was poor as well.
Yeah, he didn't have a good game.
But I think part of that was he was constantly having to deal with Sessegnon's shit.
Yeah. But like Did you find it interesting that he did play Sanchez over Romero, or do you think he did it because Romero just came back from an injury and he played one game against Marseille and then?
Romero was really poor against Fulham. He was really poor against Sporting.
Marseille, yeah.
Did he play against Marseille?
Yeah, he started against Marseille, and that's when he took him off for Tanganga, remember?
Yes, he was good against
And
Marseille.
brought on Dyer for Longley, I think, didn't he,
was good.
as well?
He was good against Marseille, but he was really poor against Fulham and really, really, really bad. Worst game he's had in a Spurs shirt against Sporting, and it's I can't remember ever describing Romero and bad in the same sentence. It feels weird.
I know.
It feels as weird as saying,
I think it's to do with his injury.
Saying God save the king, right? That's how weird it is, right? But I think it was because he wasn't playing well. It was a confidence thing. He'd had an injury and had many minutes. But when he came on, I mean, he was superb. He didn't have to do.
Yeah, he made a massive difference when he came on. I felt
he didn't have to do an awful lot, but also part of that was having the protection of Emerson there, because we didn't get that with Perisic.
Like I said, Perisic, I don't think had a good game. Apart from his set pieces, I don't think he was that great.
No, going forward, as I say, he's great. But defensively, we can't expect him to be world class or top player in every
game. Yeah, I know. It's not fair. It's really not fair on him.
That's like saying, to Dyer to play right wing back.
Oh, no.
No, I know, but he's played right back before, so theoretically,
if
he had to, he could probably do it okay.
So, like when we put Davies at left wing back once, didn't we?
Yeah, Davies could do it.
It's not the best, but
no,
he could do a job there for like an hour, maybe half hour. Yeah.
So it was weird, but overall, I think Conte showed some resilience. He had a plan B, which we've been calling for ages, and it worked. That's all we needed. That's all we needed. And now we've got the bloody international break, which is just. I know it's England, Germany, England, Italy, which I'll be really, really keen to watch. And
Dyer's back in the squad as well.
Why? I can't stand
with Harry Maguire.
Unless it's a tournament.
No, Harry Maguire's a duo at the back. That's going to be interesting.
No, I mean,
so just to close it off, so we've got Arsenal, of course, after the international break. So I'm sure we'll be back before that.
Yeah.
On my channel to do something about that game. But looking forward, what do you think in terms of?
We cannot predict that game because I would say Arsenal are heavy favourites. That's what I would say.
I'd take a draw right now, to be honest with you.
Arsenal are heavy favourites. We could get a result, if we play really, really well and we play a 5-3-2. But what's happening is our players are going off. Son's going to Korea. Romero's going to Argentina. Rishi's going to Brazil. Their 3 Brazilian players aren't going.
Yeah, I heard that as well. I heard about that as well.
Yeah, I mean, something dodgy going on there. Something very dodgy going on.
Do you remember when Fergie used to pull out his players?
I wonder if Eddie's done a job there. I genuinely do. But if we're going to make a prediction, it'd have to be England. Because it's an unpredictable game. I cannot predict Arsenal away. I can at home.
I'll take a draw any day of the week, honestly, right now. Just give me a draw. As long as we don't lose.
I would take a draw, but I want to win.
I mean, I want to win, but
we really need a win. A win would put us above them as well.
I just don't see it happening.
If we win that, people talk about us as title challengers. You know what I mean? So, we've got to stay unbeaten.
Is it 12:30 on October 1st?
It
is 12:30 kickoff? Oh, I hate the early kickoffs.
Especially after the international break.
Yeah, I think I might get a ticket for that game actually. Someone's messaging me earlier today saying might be able to get me one, so I might be there. Fingers crossed.
I'm hoping as well. But I'm going to say we're not going to lose the game. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, that's the same. I don't think we'll lose. I think we'll get a point at least. Anyway, so it's great having you on. And
cheers, mate.
Come on, you Spurs.
Up the Spurs.